Joining us now, Bill Kristol from the Weekly Standard, and we'll get to your phone calls. Do not hang up. I've got a whole board full of calls. Bill Kristol has been pushing, of course, for current governor of Indiana. I'm thinking of Haley Barbour, pushing for others to get into this race, specifically for Mitch Daniels, and we're delighted he's with us. Hey, Bill.
Hey, Laura, how are you?
We thought you were avoiding us. Your email bounced back. I thought, man, he's in a black site.
Yeah, exactly. No, you guys email. I mean, somehow you've joined my spam filter list. I don't know why.
Oh, great. Well, that's not a good sign for the
other stuff you guys send me off hours, you know.
Yeah, all those links.
Yeah.
Bill, last night on Fox, your name was taken in vain, and we'll play this little exchange at the very end of Brett Baer's panel with your friend Charles Krauthammer. Let's listen.
Daniels gets in or doesn't?
I'm afraid not, although we could send a posse, try to lasso him, but I think he would resist.
Don't tell Bill Kristol.
Yeah, so Bill, are we still holding out hopes?
I exist to provide amusement for Brett Baer and Charles Krauthammer, you know,
yeah.
and I do a good job at it. Having tried to get Ryan, Christie, Daniels, and others to run earlier and failed across the board. You know, your very interesting introduction there, I think, raises two key points people have to think about. Obama will be formidable. He hasn't been a good president. But, you know, we'd love the comparison with 1980 when Reagan beat Carter. Carter at this time in 1980 was tied up in a very tough primary challenge with Teddy Kennedy. And there were American hostages, unfortunately, taken in Iran. So it was like a visible, reminder of the failure of his foreign policy. I'm glad we don't have that kind of thing going on right now. We have all kinds of things happening under the radar that I think could be very, very damaging to the country, including Obama's military cutbacks and the getting out of Iraq and all this. But nonetheless, he doesn't look to me as vulnerable as Carter did. He could be beat, but he'll have to be beat by a strong Republican candidate. They're all formidable, and the reason we have a whole bunch of primaries, and the reason I've had the view that let's let the primaries play out, and that's not to call anyone inevitable, and people should take their time and make up their mind, depending on what state they live in, is let's see who's going to be the best candidate. That's why I wish Daniels would get in. If Daniels got in and challenged Gingrich and Romney, and they beat back the challenge, one of them, they'd be even stronger, I think. But the advantage Daniels has is he is governor of a state, a two-term governor of a state that Obama carried. Daniels has had successful policies, and he's been popular in implementing those policies. When you see Romney and Gingrich, and they're both impressive in certain ways, they spent an awful lot of time arguing about the past, and that's inevitable in campaigns a little bit. You know, they have gotcha stuff on each other. But it's partly because they haven't been in office in a long time. Newt's achievements go back to the 80s and 90s. Mitt Romney's one term in politics was in 2003 to 2006. I just have the feeling that voters would react better to someone who could stand up and say, look, I've been governing just when President Obama's been governing at the national level. Here's what he's done at the national level. Here's what we've done in the state of Indiana. It's a clear contrast. One of them has worked, one of them hasn't. It's just a kind of clarity to the message that Daniels could deliver. It's tougher, I think, for Romney or Gingrich.
Right. Well, here's I like Mitch Daniels. I think the speech as written was terrific. But did you actually watch him deliver that rebuttal last night? Did you watch it?
I did, actually. I got back just in time. I missed the president, which was good timing on my dinner here in New York, so I got back just in time to see Mitch deliver it. Yeah.
How did you rate the delivery and the optics?
Well, I mean, these things always look so bad compared to the president, the glamour of the State of the Union.
Bob McDonnell looked great when he did his rebuttal. He looked fantastic.
Who did? I'm sorry.
Bob McDonnell a few years ago when he gave the rebuttal. He was terrific.
Yeah, I thought he looked fine. I don't think this is going to be decided by looks or glamour. Maybe I'm kidding myself, and maybe if it is decided by that, Daniels won't win. I just look, if he doesn't run,
he's not getting in. But Bill, this is.
I think he might get in. I think he might get in.
You think he might get in? Okay.
Yeah.
So this is what I don't get about this. The guy had every chance to get in the race. He hemmed and hawed and finally said, "My family says that it's not the right time for us." Okay, fine. And he doesn't get in the race. Then the people have worked really hard. Even the people who have gotten out, maybe with the exception of Herman Cain. I'm not sure how hard he worked. But they all were in the race. They're all fighting for it. And now it looks like people are surging for Newt Gingrich. And it looks to a lot of people, Bill, like the kind of establishment conservative types out there see this surge for Gingrich and they feel they have to ride in to save the people from themselves. And I'm telling you, the emails and the Facebook postings I'm getting, people are ballistic about this. They think it's an end run around the people, and that the elites are going to rue the day if they try to manipulate this process or introduce someone at the last minute to try to, to try to change the outcome. I'm just telling you, that's what I'm seeing here, and you can respond to it.
I'm going to respond. Of all the elites, I've probably been more pro-Gingrich and less pro-Romney than anyone else here. Ask the Romney campaign if they're happy with my commentary over the last few months. Has anyone said more than me, it's not inevitable? Has anyone said more than me, let the people decide? Has anyone said more than me?
Yeah, other than no.
Don't tell, other than you, don't tell people ahead of time how to vote. Vote for the people you think are I don't want to end run anything. I think if Mitch Daniels got in, there would be a stronger field for the voters in Arizona and a million other states that are coming up in February and March and April. He wouldn't be on the ballot in Arizona, but in a lot of other states in April and May to decide among. If not, voters will decide. I will decide. I hope I get to decide among more than just Romney and Paul in Virginia, among the candidates that we have. And I admire what Newt Gingrich has done over the last few months with his first comeback and now the current comeback. As I say, I've been probably, if anything, much more a defender of Gingrich than most people here. So I'm not trying to end run anything. It would be, but Newt, I just think Daniels would provide an interesting alternative to Gingrich for those who do think Gingrich has various problems that might be tough to overcome in a general election. I'm not. I think,
I hear what you're saying. That's a fair response, I think. And
I wish he'd gotten inside. I think your criticism is right too, though. People have to hold in one of the things they'll have to hold in their judgments on Daniels, or considering their judgment on Daniels, is what does it tell us about him that he didn't get in when it was 6 months ago, and should that be held against him? And maybe it should be.
What are you basing your statement that you think he's going to get in?
I don't think he's going to get in. I think he might get in because I do think he looks at these debates and he looks at. I think he's sympathetic to Newt. I mean, he worked with Newt back in the 80s and in the early 90s. I think he is worried, as a lot of people are, that Newt will be a tough sell in a general election. I'm worried that Romney will be a tough sell as well. I actually don't know that one is easier to elect than the other. I think Daniels could be a stronger candidate than either of them. And I do think, again, the current governing experience is a big plus. Having said that, if Gingrich convinces everyone that he'll go in at the national level and do a great job and do the kind of stuff Mitch did in Indiana, I mean, Gingrich-Daniels would not be a bad ticket, actually.
Yeah.